The profits are going through the roof. So am I. Volume 1. Written by Azaraiah, Lindo. Episode 2. The profits are going through the roof. So am I. Written by Azaraiah, Lindo. Episode 2. The profits are going through the roof. This is Boaz. He is 7 years old and loves to know about the history and culture of his ancestors. Boaz was named by his parents after an ancestor, a biblical figure mentioned in the book of Ruth. His name means strength is in him. Boaz is proud of his name, and it makes him feel powerful and special. This is Keone. She is 4 years old. She has quite a vivid imagination, which sometimes causes her to scare herself. Luckily, her big brother Boaz is usually there to clear things up for her, although sometimes he intentionally procrastinates because he finds it funny. Procrastinate means when you take unreasonably long to do something, like Keone does when it's her turn to tidy the room. Boaz and Keone lived there together with their father and their mother in a 2-bedroom house in London, which is in the United Kingdom. It is also the capital city. Can you identify the landmarks in London from the picture below? This is Boaz and Keone's father, and his name is Azaraiah. Do you remember which prophet had a companion named Azaraiah? He is from Jamaica. Even though he was born in London, this is because his father was from Jamaica. That's the biblical rules. Do you remember what biblical means? Their father is the head of the household and makes sure that everyone is always protected. This doesn't mean that he bosses everybody about, but that he loves and guides and protects his family, like Christ does over him and his family. This is their mother. Her name is Camila. She makes sure that everyone in the household is always well nurtured and happy. She is also a nurse. Mom also takes responsibility for the family's well-being, including their diet, ensuring that they eat clean, healthy, lawful foods. Lawful foods are foods that God said that we are allowed to eat. It was a glorious winter evening, a few hours after school, and Boaz played in his room after just coming home from his youth club. It was about 6 o'clock. He was only allowed a small amount of time on a school day to play his favorite video games, and he had just finished his homework, revisions, and chores. Boaz snapped in the game cartridge into his handheld video game system and had only an hour and a half to play. His door was closed because he didn't want to be disturbed, and he had his headphones on because he said it helped him be more immersed into his games. Boaz was usually quite responsible and usually loved the stories in his games, so he always kept his side of the covenant. A covenant is an agreement between two or more people. Boaz called Keone to her brother. I heard Dad say to Mom this evening that the profits are going through the roof. She continued, the real profits coming through our roof tonight. She ended, whispering, didn't they die thousands of years ago, Boaz? Does that mean they are going to be spirits? I'm scared, Boaz. Why are they going through the roof? Through our roof? What's in there? What are they going to do? We are going to have spirits in our house tonight, Boaz. My room is near the attic, and there's no way I'm sleeping there tonight with spirits in the house. What are we going to do? Keone burst into tears. Maybe it's not so bad, Boaz. Last time, Dad said that the prophets are our ancestors, so surely they wouldn't do anything to harm us, right, Boaz? Keone asked her brother very confidently. Maybe Moses is there, Boaz. Do you think he might be there? Keone spoke so much and so quickly that Boaz hardly ever got to say a word when she was this excited. He was used to it, so he sometimes just went along with it. Maybe Keone, he responded. Dad taught me these songs to remember what happened to each of our forefathers. Here's one about Moses, Keone began to sing. Moses was once a prince who was brought up in Egypt but really was an Israelite. Even though he couldn't see it, the princess saw him on the river and saved him when he was younger than a year old. Because Israelite slaves, babies, was dying at the evil hands of Pharaoh. And it was all kept a big, massive secret until Moses was older and saved our people out of Egypt. The end. Maybe Jonah will be there, Keone asked. Do you think Jonah will be there, Boaz? Do you? Well, we'll know if it smells like fish, I suppose, Keone. Boaz commented, giggling. Dad taught me another song to help me remember what happened in those times with our ancestors. It goes like this. She began to sing again. Jonah. Jonah was told to travel to Nineveh to preach the word of Yahweh to the people that lived there. Instead of obeying, the disobedient man left it. He boarded a ship to Tarshish, and Yahweh sent a storm and wrecked it. He tells the shipmen to cast him overboard because he was wicked and he disobeyed the Lord. And there he was swallowed up by a great big fish and sat there 3 days. He had a lot of time to think, and finally he chose to obey Yahweh's command. So the fish vomited him all up on the dry land. The end. Perhaps Noah will be there, Keone suggested to her brother. Do you think Noah will be there, Boaz? Do you? He better not bring all those animals, especially mice. I don't like mice, Keone ended. Me either, Boaz commented. Dad taught me another song to help me remember what happened in those times with our ancestors, and it goes like this. She began to sing once again. Noah. Noah was told to build a great ark because people were sinful, and this was their charge. Yahweh would send them a flood that wouldn't pass until everybody perished except those on the ark. Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and their wives made only 8 people that were left alive. And 2 of a kind of each animal would survive because they lived righteously in Yahweh's sight. The end. Perhaps Samuel will be there, Keone suggested to her brother. Do you think Samuel will be there, Boaz? Do you? Keone ended. Who knows? Boaz commented. Dad taught me another song to help me remember what happened in those times when with our ancestors. It goes like this. She began to sing once more. Samuel. Yahweh asked Samuel to find a new king. Boaz, because Saul had been wicked and disobedient towards him. He said to find Jesse, who had 8 sons, and that one of them would become king. But can you guess which one? Samuel first thought it was Eliab, the eldest. But Yahweh said no. How he looks isn't the question. Then each brother came out, until the last one. It was David, the youngest. Yahweh said, he is the one. The Israelites had a problem. They were the Philistines, who had many giants in their land and on their team. And one named Goliath cried out to the Israelites, choose one man from amongst you to join me in a fight. And if I beat him, you will surely serve us. But if he beats me, we will be your servants. The Israelites were afraid. But then came young David to fight the big giant. You fight with the sword, and I come with the Lord. And everyone will know that there is one true God. Goliath didn't care, like he didn't even hear, and went towards David, who showed him no fear. David pulled out a rock and put it in his sling and swung it around and threw it at him. Goliath was hit, so down the giant went. Then David approached him and chopped off his head. The end. Keone sighed. Boaz as he laughed. Sighed Boaz as he laughed. And continued, I enjoyed and am actually quite impressed by your stories and understanding of our ancestors who were prophets, but you are so funny and don't even know it. There is something I must tell you, Boaz ended, finding his sisters. Confusion quite amusing. What is it, Boaz? And why are you laughing? What's so funny? Always laughing at me. Is it something about the prophets going through the roof? Keone responded, annoyingly eager and irritated to find out. It actually is my adorable sister, Boaz continued. When Dad said the prophets were going through the roof, he wasn't talking about the word prophet, Keone. Keone quietly awaited Boaz to continue explaining, and he continued. He was talking about the word prophet. Boaz explained to his sister that the word prophet refers to a person regarded as an inspired teacher or proclaimer of the will of God, whereas the word prophet refers to the money you make on top of an investment. For example, if I buy something for £1 and sell it for £2, the extra £1 made would be considered the profit, Boaz explained, and then continued. So when Dad said the profits were going through the roof, he probably was talking about some investment whose value is rising as high as a roof. Harmoniums are two words that sound the same but are spelt differently, Keone. This confusion over profits and profits is a good example, Boaz explained. Thank God for that. As much as I love my ancestors and having family over, that was a bit much. I'd rather see them in the books we read for now. Boaz, echoed Keone. I agree, responded Boaz. The end. And that was Prophets Are Going Through the Roof. So Am I, Volume 1, written by Azaraiah, Lindo. Episode 2. Kahala Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, everyone. Salah. Shalom.